Hello, lovely souls. Welcome to the Awakening to Your Soul Self podcast. I'm Christina Loureiro, certified angel messenger and angel Reiki master teacher. My spiritual journey began in the spring of 2022 when my spirit team nudged me to listen to the amazing Angels and Awakening podcast. Since then, I've been learning to use my spiritual gifts and growing increasingly curious about spirituality and various healing modalities. I'm so excited for you to join me on this special journey as we dive into spirituality, healing, while exchanging our wisdom and profound insights with other remarkable healers. So grab a cup of coffee or tea, get cozy, and let's embark on the spiritual journey together. Hello, lovely souls. Welcome back to the Awakening to Your Soul Self podcast. If you listened to last week's episode, I started a August Archangel mini series that the angels wanted me to bring through. This week I have Heather Page. She is another wonderful healer that works with archangels. Welcome, Heather.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me on the show today.
Absolutely. So I always love the guests to start by introducing themselves. So who are you and what do you do?
Oh, well, I kind of call myself, well, I don't kind of, I call myself a spiritual guide and mentor. I am a psychic medium and intuitive channel. And a lot of my work is with people who are ready for transformation and shift in their lives. So I work with them using different tools to help them shift from maybe a corporate job or feeling like they have a new purpose and this life purpose and soul calling has been there, but they haven't found the way to it. So I help them with various tools to shift through that with human design, as well as emotional release sessions, energy healing, so spiritual energy healing, and also connecting them with the guides and the angels that are part of their team. So yeah, I love the work that I get to do. Yeah, and I work a lot with spirit and other light beings as well. So, and yeah, one of the things that I do, sometimes someone needs their space cleared, so I'll work on clearing their space and helping them really get empowered around keeping that energetic boundary.
That's amazing.
Oh,
And then another thing I always like to have the guests do is a brief synopsis of their spiritual awakening.
oh, wow. Brief. It can be. It's interesting. It has been over my lifetime. I had gifts as a child, and those
Oh,
gifts
wow.
yeah, yeah. And this didn't come back to me until I was doing some like regression type work in
Okay.
EFT. But yeah, I had gifts as a child, and in an EFT session with this amazing practitioner, we were working on something, and all of a sudden I had a vision of being punished because I told my parent that
Mm.
I saw something or knew something. I think something probably came out of my mouth that they
Oh,
were
yeah.
happy about, or it scared them, and I got punished for it. So the gifts got shut down. And after that, it was a progression of these memories of being in my room and sitting in the middle of my room and, you know, having these elementals and beings and angels in my room and just really connecting with that energy. But that all kind of got shut down
Yeah.
at some point. And then in my early 20s, it started coming back, the psychic mediumship. I saw my great grandfather and my great great uncle when my grandmother died. And it freaked me out because I was having first
Yeah.
sight. Um, and and then had some other psychic knowings but had self-doubt about it. Went into corporate careers, big girl jobs, and
Yeah.
kind of shut all of that down in a way, but I still was getting going to these amazing classes and connecting with these people. And so it was great getting to do that stuff. Had kids though, so that kind of moved things kind of to the back. Although when my oldest was about 18 months, we had moved into a house that had a portal. And so
Uh,
I was seeing, of course, like, you and I are seeing each other, beings coming through that portal as they had died. And so had somebody come in, they worked together, then she trained me, and then I started doing that kind of work on the side, on the sly. No one knew I was
yeah.
doing that other than, people who did that. So fast forward through all of that, I, had a huge catalyst in my early 40s of it was time to get out of the corporate because I was just sick all the time. I had autoimmune issues
Mm,
and knew that I needed to be doing something different. And because I had so much self-doubt, I had to do something that was proven, and it was functional nutrition. And so
yeah.
kind of got into that. And I'm working with clients and I'm having all these knowings. And when I'm working, testing their points, I'm like having like medical intuitive stuff going on. I'm like, what's going on? But went through, did some beautiful certifications that pulled all of it together. I worked with one of my mentors, Dr. Deanna Minnick, who really bridges science and spirituality in an amazing way, and looking at it from a holistic standpoint. And then, deep dive into human design. I did spiritual energy healing school for 2 years with one of my mentors and one of my energy healers. And it just started opening up stuff as I'm going through the energy healing class. I'm like meeting all these beings, multidimensional beings.
Wow.
It was crazy. It was crazy. But in between all of that, when we moved into this house, and I was just having a memory of that the other day, and it was so right on time. I had been listening to Doreen Virtue back when she was on Hay House talking about the
Oh,
angels,
yeah.
listening like Angel Wednesdays, whatever it was, I can't remember, Angel Sundays, and listening to her and just getting so much inspiration from all of that. And the kids and I moved into this house, and Haniel and Jophiel came to me. And
Oh,
it was exactly the salve that I needed. It was that joy and that healing energy. And it was soft. It was very soft. And it was exactly the salve that I needed at that time. And so that's kind of how it all started. And then, progressed. I was having this huge being in my room, and because of my experience with the dark energies that I had
yeah.
experienced, the kid on my hip, I would hide under the covers, and then met a mentor at the right
Hmm.
time. And he's like, you are a mouthpiece for Archangel Metatron. You need to be connecting into
Wow.
this. And so I started doing, finding people out there who connected with Archangel Metatron, and
Yeah.
doing meditations to get more connected into his energy, and then started doing channeling of his energy and using it during client sessions, and having him here because, he's really about the beautiful framework. He's, works with the matrix. He's the Akashic records, he
Yeah.
has these connections to all these like very foundational pieces. And it's something that I've needed my whole life. And I didn't
Know
know.
about it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And so it's just all these pieces start coming together. And my Saturn's in my first house, if you know astrology, and he's very connected to Saturn. And because Saturn's all about building foundations and taking step by step. So it was like, wow. And it was like all of this stuff that I felt like was such a burden actually was this like beautiful gift. So started working with him, and then other angels. when I was doing more work crossing over spirits. So yeah, so that's kind of that wasn't very brief, but
That's
kind
okay.
that's
I
kind of
love I love that story. I really loved how Haniel and Jophiel came because to
Mhm.
me they're very soft energies as well.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. 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 The
So
other
I
day.
loved,
Yeah.
oh sorry. I
That's
also
okay.
loved how you brought through Metatron.
Mhm.
He's on my team as well. He for me he's more in the back end, like kind of getting things all lined up for me.
Uh,
Um So I don't work with him like one-on-one as more as like I do with Gabrielle. She helps me a lot with my using my voice, especially on the
mhm.
podcast. She was the one that was like, do the podcast.
I love it.
Archangel Michael's always with me every day. I always feel his energy. Um, so I'd love for you to go into Archangel Metatron. I feel
Yeah.
like he's really around right now and he's like, spread the word.
Yeah, yeah. So he is such a powerful, powerful being. He is the scribe of God. He, sits there with God and is basically that mouthpiece. So being the channel of that scribe of God is really, really um it's very connected is the word that's coming to me right now, and it feels and it's very solid, and he always sits at my right shoulder. He's like right here, and I can kind of feel him when I call him in or when I need him. I utilize his energy a lot when I am working with different I have some multidimensional councils that I work with, and he is always there at my side. Because we go my one of my councils, the Council of Nine, is in Sandalphon's cave. So I work with Sandalphon as well. Because
That's awesome.
they're kind of like twins, archangel twins, and so yeah, so really working with him and getting these beautiful solid messages that are just so full of light because he's right there, up with
Yeah.
God, and the messages are always very inspirational, but he also gives me a lot of good building blocks and things. And one of when I first started working with Metatron, there's an artist here in Kansas City who her name is Susan Walter, and she works very closely with the angels and other beings as well, but is an artist, like brings them through in art. And actually, I have one of her frequency pieces back
Oh
there.
wow.
Yeah, yeah, it's 963 hertz, I think, and it has the six-sided star in there, the Merkaba in it, and it's really cool. And when I started working with her, that energy of Metatron, I went and saw her, and she's like, "There's something else you're supposed to be getting." I said, "Well, I started working with Metatron," and she gave me a card, and I have it hung up behind me as well. That's her Metatron. I don't know if you
Oh
can see that
wow.
there.
That's
Um,
beautiful.
yeah, and but the message on the card was enable us to maintain a well-defined boundary and keep a clear sense of self to succeed in fulfilling our potential within the world of form. And I just always
Wow.
loved that message that was on the card because it's so important for us as we're working with, the angels or spirits or earthbound entities, whoever, to maintain those nice spiritual boundaries. And also when we're in physical form, boundaries with others. So I really feel like that's a lot of Metatron's energy. He's there to give you those nice boundaries and foundations for growth.
That's beautiful. Yeah. Archangel Metatron, like I said, is more in the he's in my team, but he's more in the back end, kind of getting things lined up and saying like go in this direction, go in that direction.
Yeah.
Another archangel that we messaged back and forth
Mhm.
about is Archangel Azrael. Can you go into Azrael?
Yes, yeah. So it was interesting because when I was starting to get back into, well, starting to bring, I shouldn't say getting back into psychic mediumship, it was always a part of me, but when
Yeah.
I decided to come out of the spiritual closet, being a psychic medium, I was working with my spiritual mentor, and he said, you can utilize Metatron. Ariel can come over and be there holding, she's like Julie, the cruise director, with the lists and everything. And so I started working with those energies. And then I had noticed that um, Charles Virtue was doing a Archangel mediumship class.
Oh,
And
wow.
I was like, oh, that would be kind of nice. I mean, I already do this energy, but getting more in tune with these other angels would be a great idea. So I took the class with Charles Virtue, and he really started talking more and more about Azrael because my spiritual mentor had talked about him as well, and I was
Yeah.
feeling his energy, but got really connected into it. And I really love Azrael because a lot of times the photos, not photos, but renditions of Azrael are like the Grim Reaper, and that's
Mhm.
not really him. I
No.
mean, he's got that, soft, creamy thing. But his energy, and it was so funny because his energy is so different than Metatron's. Metatron's very powerful and comes in very solid. His is like, uh, I describe him as Sheldon from Big Bang Theory because he
Yeah.
will like swoop in and be like, I'm here, let's do it, that kind of thing. And I'm like, okay, all right. It's like penny, penny,
Yeah.
penny. Um, and so, yeah, so I started working, pulling him in as part of the team when I was doing kind of Sunday spirit Sundays where I was hosting psychic mediumship little salons with people, and bringing in his energy as well as Jeremiah. Whenever I'm crossing over, I also have Jesus there as well. They're kind of my team that comes to work together when I'm doing crossing over, and they will help also when I'm like if I am trying to not cage an earthbound spirit, but to kind of consolidate them outside of someone's
Okay.
home. If I can't get to the house for a week to work on it, I'll be like, can you guys help? And they will, because they're very soothing, and they're like, it's not a bad thing, I can kind of talk them through it. So yeah, so Azrael yeah, came in that way. And his energy, I just love his energy because it is creamy and soft. And but everybody, there are so many depictions. I mean, everyone has their perspectives of these angels, and when you get to actually sense and work with their energy, it's really kind of different. When
Yeah.
you can get out of that place of fear and really get into your heart and connect with them. So, yeah, I love working with Archangel Azrael as part of that team. He's always close by when I'm, doing portal work or crossing people over. So yeah, I really like his energy. And then also when we were working with Charles Virtue, he had talked about having Michael on the team as Archangel Michael on the team as well
Yeah.
as Jeremiah. And Archangel Michael had already been part of my council, so I knew his energy really well.
Yeah.
And so, but it's so nice to have that spiritual protection in there. And so then bringing in Jeremiah for the life review, and really, that piece as the negotiator and going, you know what? Yeah, your life may have been really you may be feeling guilty for what your life is like, and that's why you're stuck,
Yeah.
in this fourth dimensional place. But I'm telling you, we're just going to do a life review. We're doing,
Mm,
and it's not this construct that's been put together by, you know, religion or
yeah.
anything. It's something different. When you get there, it is a movie. We go over it. You go to school, and that's that. And then, so it's really helpful to have all of those energies as part of the team, if that earthbound spirit is up for it. And most of the time they are,
Yeah.
especially they've been in Western organized religion, will be open to that, those energies. So, yeah, I love working with it. I introduced Archangel Azrael to a death doula I was working with, because
Oh, that's perfect.
yeah, she was holding on to so much of the energy of the family or of the person who was transitioning, that she needed to be able to step back and allow Azrael to take and absorb that energy for her. And so, really learning to work with that energy was very helpful, because then, because we are physical vessels, and being able to not take it through our body is much better for us, because then
Yeah.
we're not going to get sick, or we're going to have energy after a client session, rather than
Yes.
be, have sponged in everything. So yeah, so I really like working with, you know, the angels, and as they come and in and out. And I have two sprays that I've made, and the 22 archangels will come, and I infuse the sprays with their energy, because
That's
it's
lovely.
just so beautiful. Yeah, and it's just all about support, and that's the big thing. And you know this, but
Yeah.
we need to call on them. They are always there to help us. They're not, they're going to come if you ask. And the big piece is remembering to ask and trusting in it. And I mean, I still sometimes will be like, why didn't I just call on the angels at that point?
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's
Yeah.
kind of
I mean,
energy.
yeah, the angels want to be part of our lives, and they always tell me, like, even if it's just as small as finding a parking spot,
Mm, yeah.
like it doesn't have to be this big, like you want this miracle or need this thing. It can be very small.
Hmm. Yeah, and that's such a good reminder, because we don't think about it in that way. It doesn't have to have this big thing where I want $1 million. It
Mm.
can be, can you keep me safe on my walk? In our neighborhood, the uh, people don't adhere to the leash ordinances real well. So I call in the angels,
Oh
and
yeah.
to kind of be around us as I'm walking the dog, just so we're in that kind of bubble away from it, and trusting that bubble. We always have a nice relaxing walk. When I don't do it, the walks can, I can
Feels
get caught
different.
in fear. Yeah, yeah, and the dog gets caught up in the fear. Thank you. There you go. That, calling on the angels for that support is so lovely. Yeah. When I'm driving, I work at a retreat house, and in the winter, of course, it's dark when I go home.
Mm.
And so I will call in the angels as I drive home.
Yeah.
And just do, may all beings be safe, may all beings be protected, all is well, throughout that, just to bring in that soft energy. Yeah, so when uh just utilizing that protection energy is so helpful. I even
Yeah.
will send the angels with my kids, when they're driving and things like that. Because, it makes me feel better, and I know that they are protected. So,
Absolutely. And I think there's also like this notion where, the angels, loved ones, they can't be at multiple places at once, but they can. They
mm-hmm.
are. spirit, their angels, they can be in a million places at once. So
Mhm.
you can call upon them for the little, the big, the medium things, anything. I always like to call them during meditations, during automatic writing sessions.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure you get messages through that way.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Who is your favorite angel to automatic write with? Is there one that is the
I think
most
it I think it teeter-totters whatever messages I need
mm,
at that time. But I'd say Gabriel comes through the most.
mm-hmm,
As I'm always working with my throat chakra, I'm a
mm,
actually very shy, introverted person. So she says in automatic writing is the best way for me to get the messages that I need, because there's no egoic mind when I do my automatic writing sessions. And then sometimes in meditations, I just can't, I shouldn't say can't, I have trouble shutting down the egoic mind. So with the
mm.
automatic writing, I just flow better.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Yeah, and then it's so true because it can be challenging to shut down the egoic mind and the chatter that's going on and the filter that can sometimes get put in place,
Yeah.
you know, while you're trying. Yes, and automatic writing. Yeah, I find automatic writing is really helpful for that as well. Yeah. And sometimes walking, you know, and just really connecting in, you know, nature for me you know, that gives us that heaven on earth and gives us
Yeah.
that connection and, you know, and then calling in the angels as needed can be so helpful. I work at a retreat house that is on
Mm.
80 acres.
Oh,
And
wow.
so, yeah, so if I need to, I go outside in the morning with my coffee and just really just connect in. There's also a meditation prayer room where I can go in and connect. So it's really lovely to have that place to go. 3 weekends a month to you know, and be able to start my day in that way. But and we can connect out, you know, just on a piece of grass, or you can have
Yes.
a stone that you put in your hand that connects you back to nature. I have, you know, stones from camping trips that I'll pull out, you know, that the kids have gathered and that will give me memories. And maybe I had a memory and Archangel Michael came through, or you know, Azrael or Metatron, and be able to connect in that way. So there's so many ways for us to do those connections.
Absolutely. Um, you said you work with the 22 archangels? Did you say that?
Yes, I do. I do. Yeah.
Are
Yeah.
there any more that are kind of around you that you want to talk about?
Let's see who wants to come through. Well, I just heard Jophiel. Jophiel was like one.
Yes, ma'am.
Uh-huh. And yeah, it's funny because a lot of times they'll come in as just as the group of the 22 archangels. I was doing some channeling out at a friend's land. We're doing a retreat in October,
Mm,
and I was working with what they were calling themselves the collective. And all of a sudden the archangels and everything was kind of serious because I was crossing over some beings. I'd set up a
mm.
portal, and the archangels all came in and kind of like almost energetically bumped them and like, we want to talk and we want to give you the message of light and joy and you know and this doesn't have to be hard, you know. And it was a great reminder that spirituality does not have to be serious.
Yes,
Our spiritual
absolutely.
path can feel that way sometimes, you know, because we're working on our shadow side and we're working on these pieces. But um you know, it is remembering that we need to go back to that childlike place of joy. And Jophiel feels that way to me. She feels very childlike and joyful um and so yeah, her energy to me always feels like that. that joy and remembering that childlike part of us when we've gotten too serious, too much in
Yeah.
the physical day to day of everything. So yeah, I really like her energy, and um one thing that, and you may have already talked about this, but one thing for people to realize is that, they are androgynous. So somebody may connect into Gabriel as a male angel,
Yep.
some may connect as a female. So I don't know, you may have already talked about that, but that just kind of popped in my head.
Nope,
So
I haven't yet.
okay. Yeah. So that's why they were telling me that. They just wanted people to know, your listeners to know that, yeah, if you connect into Jophiel and it's more of a male feeling, then go for it. Doesn't mean you're not connecting to that energy. You're just connecting to that more divine masculine side of that angel.
Yeah,
So, but Jophiel came as a female angel to me when I started
me
working.
too.
And yeah. Oh, okay. Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. So it's really cool. So yeah, I just love, I need to call, excuse me. I need to call Archangel Jophiel more often to remind me of that childlike playfulness that we all need to have in our
Well,
life.
that's beautiful.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, my first experience with Jophiel, um, she had beautiful brunette hair, long brunette hair. She had like a flower crown, so it definitely resonate with the
Mhm.
childlike, because like
Uh-huh.
there are the little, the kids at that age will put the flower crown on.
Oh yeah.
So, and she was just in this beautiful field. I don't always see what they look like.
Mm-hmm.
To me, they're either orbs or just energy in
Mm-hmm.
general, either
Yeah.
or a silhouette. So to see like actual her features was a really beautiful experience.
Yeah, oh, that's so neat. Yeah, because when I met them, they were faceless, and it was more of just
Yeah.
the of colors that came in. And, for Jophiel, for me, it was like this kind of corally orangey kind of,
Ooh.
color. And then Haniel came in kind of pink, um and it could be, from the, uh angel cards that I had, just really kind of connecting that energy, because I had Doreen Virtue's archangel cards,
Oh,
um
okay.
and but also had gotten the cherub angel cards for my kids to use, and then I have the angel tarot, Radley Valentine's angel tarot. So yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah, it's really, yeah, I love it. And I just got, and it may have been through you, was Diana Cooper for more on the angels. I don't know if you,
Yeah.
yeah, we may
I
have
think we
talked.
talked about it.
Okay, yeah, and I started following her, and I'm like, oh, I love this. I love her perspective and take, because we all need these different perspectives of how we connect in, because then it's going to resonate for our clients, or, the listeners, or something, others.
Yeah. And I think it's important that we have different perspectives
Mm-hmm.
because what resonates with you might not resonate with me
Right.
for a certain reason.
Mm-hmm.
I
Exactly.
was just recording an episode earlier for this
Mm-hmm.
one, and she was talking about how she tried a lot of different healing modalities, and she only took what resonated with her. So anything
Mm-hmm.
that of that modality that didn't resonate, she just took it aside, but still continued that modality, but just
Mm-hmm.
took that little piece out. And I think that's important for us to share is that whatever
Yes.
we talk about these angels and whatever resonates with you, if you see them a male or female, or if you don't have a gender with them, I think that's important because,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever colors you see. Like I don't
Mm-hmm.
always see color.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, for some reason, I always see Archangel Michael as blue. I think that's
Mm-hmm.
just because he's the one that came to me first when I was starting
Oh.
this journey.
Uh-huh.
Um, and then so. going back is just go within and talk to your angels and see what they bring through, what you resonate with. Because we all have these gifts. I just,
Mm-hmm.
like all of them, I'm not a fan of when people say, I'm just a clairvoyant or I'm just a
Right.
clairaudience. That
Uh-huh.
just means that that gift is your forefront. For
Mm-hmm.
me, clairaudience is my forefront. And
Mm-hmm.
then it's clairvoyance, and then it's the others.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's
Yeah.
important to realize that we all have these gifts, we all resonate with different things.
Mm-hmm.
The angels will bring through what resonates with us, however
Yeah.
they're supposed to come through.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, and it's so important, and it is important for people to realize that, it's sometimes when things are gatekept, it can shut down that peace for people. And knowing that the universe is so expansive and the quantum field is so expansive that you
Yeah.
do have access to it all. It's just learning how to bring it through basically that funnel and
Hmm.
able to filter it down and get the egoic mind out of the way so that you can be that clear channel and find out, yeah, what is your strongest clair, and then work with that one and then allow the others to come through. Yeah, I remember, when I shut down first, I'm just calling it first sight. I don't know what it's
Yeah.
actually called. But my second sight started coming through. And so I would start getting things, I'd get words and I'd get senses, all of the other things just really pulled up and were like, okay, and we're here for you, and smells and all of those things, and taste even, to help discern for the person that I was channeling for, or bring through, or just messages. So
Yeah.
yeah, learning to be able to do that, and yeah, and really doing your own self-care, and so that you can get out of your own way, so and be able to really live your best life and be that light and that channel for others.
Yeah. And what Spirit's bringing through is that as we talk about the different clairs and the different senses,
Mm-hmm.
if it doesn't resonate with you, think of it this way. This is what they just whispered in my ear.
Hmm.
For example, if you have lost your hearing or are blind, your other senses will heighten to make up for that
Right.
ability. So think
Mm-hmm.
of it in the same way as your clairs. For
Mm-hmm.
example, when I started this podcast, I always wore headphones, but then
Mm.
that inhibited me from listening to them because for me, they come through my right ear. So I
Yeah.
had the headphone in my right ear. So
Yeah.
then they were kept showing me things because I couldn't hear, which is my strongest clair. I
Right.
kept seeing more. So
Mm-hmm.
now I take off the headphones when I record, and now they're like, hi, you can hear me now.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
think of it that way, I think is really beautiful. And they always are trying different ways, whether it's
Mm-hmm.
signs, synchronicities.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a lot of signs that I get are through music, through the radio,
Mm-hmm.
pennies on the floor, angel numbers,
Yeah.
even conversations. Like
Yes.
if you were like thinking of something and you're like, and then boom, somebody talks about it. Or if you're thinking of
Uh-huh.
somebody and they call you or text you or
Mm-hmm.
so I feel, not everything is a sign, but if it feels like a sign to
Mm-hmm.
you, it's a
Yep.
sign.
Yeah, yeah, no, and I agree. Yeah, not every bird is going to come through as a sign, but you're going to know when it is a sign, because they'll repeat, because they
Yeah.
really want to get a hold of you, they really
Yeah.
do, and and I remember when I was learning through angel numbers, what were you thinking about at that time when that angel number came
Mhm.
through? Is important. Yeah, the other day, I was concerned about money, and I'm like, how am I going to do this? I've got two
Yeah.
kids going to college in about, a week or two. And I'm like, okay, how am I going to make? And all of a sudden, boom, boom, I get 1616 and twice,
Mm.
and I pulled it up, and I don't know if she does angel numbers, Joanne Sacred Scribes.
That's the place I go.
Yep, me too. And I went there and it was all about that. And it was like, the angels got your back. You just tell them.
Yeah.
And again, it was that reminder, ask us to support you because we're working behind the scenes, getting
Yeah.
that money coming forward. And um and within 5 minutes, I had worked with a client earlier that day and hadn't billed them yet. I hadn't sent an invoice. And
Yeah.
here comes through two large payments for that, which I would never
Wow.
have charged that much for it. And I was like, oh, well, there you go. And then the biggest thing is thank you. Thank you.
Yes. That's another thing I do is when I get a sign,
Mm-hmm.
I try to ask who it's from.
That's
Sometimes I don't always get that message.
right.
And then I always end with thank you for this message. Thank you for the sign. That's how I end my day as well, as I say, thank you, God, universe, source, angels for all the messages, even the messages that I did not receive.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. Yeah, that's a great.
Because for me, when I'm doing my quote unquote real job,
Uh-huh.
I find that I'm not all turned on because I'm
Mhm.
like so focused on my real job.
Right, right.
So that's when I started to integrate the part before I go to bed is, thank you for the signs that I might have missed or that I
Mm-hmm.
didn't receive.
Mm-hmm.
And also, speaking of angel numbers, I've also picked up Angel Numbers by Kyle Gray. He's another spiritual teacher out there.
That's a
I
good book.
recently gift this to my future sister-in-law because she's always recently seeing angel messages. Her wedding with my brother is coming up in October. And I said, here's this book.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you see a number, take a picture of it. If you can't, if you don't have the book on hand,
Right.
um, I do a lot of screenshots lately. Like I'll see
Mm-hmm.
1111 and screenshot it, or
Mm-hmm.
222 or 11, like whatever comes up.
Yeah.
And then I'll go back to either Joanne's scriptures, or I'll pull out Kyle Gray's book
Mm-hmm.
and just see what it means.
Mm-hmm.
License plates is a big one that I'll see.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Um, but recently I've been forgetting those. So I've been trying to ask them, like, what was that number that really hit me, but I can't remember. So then uh, recently they've been saying, just open Kyle Gray's book, open it, and whatever number you see first.
Oh, yeah.
And he says that in his book as well. Like,
Oh, okay.
this
Mm-hmm.
is not a book to like read front to back, but if you
Mm-hmm.
want like a message, just say God, universe, source, angels, whatever the message I need to know is, and then you just open the book.
Mm-hmm.
So the angels wanted me to throw that little tidbit in there.
Yeah. And that's a great point because you can do that with your angel oracle cards or
Yeah,
anything. Because I'll do that. Some days you don't have time to sit there and shuffle. And you're like, I really, really need a message. Would you please bring one through? I love how you phrased it. And yeah, and I'll just open and it'll be exactly what I need to hear that day. So yeah, know that you can asking and then thanking is the biggest thing because they just like us want to be acknowledged and seen. Yeah, and it's just so important for us to remember that. Because this is an energetic exchange. And, as we say thank you, for, you know, when somebody does something for us, we need that energetic exchange is needed with the angels and other light beings that we work with. So, yeah.
absolutely. I'm actually feeling Archangel Ariel, and she had me write something down, so I feel like I'm gonna have to say it.
Okay. Yes.
Um, so it's a so anytime I'm on the road, unfortunately there are accidents with animals and they don't
Mm,
survive.
yeah.
Whenever I drive by them, I always ask Archangel Ariel and Archangel Azrael to please bring the animal back to the other side in peace and not be in
Mm,
pain.
mhm.
And if you don't know, listeners, Ariel works with the nature, plant, and animal kingdom. So I always feel connected with her when I'm in
Mhm.
nature, with my brother's dogs, any kind of animal, or even outside. Sometimes she'll just tell me just to stick my bare feet in the grass or my hands,
Mhm. Mhm.
to feel connected. So she wanted me to bring through, if you do see an animal that's on the road that unfortunately
Mhm.
hasn't made it, to be reassured that she and Azrael have taken their spirit, soul, back to
Mhm.
the other side and they are fine and they're in peace.
Mm.
Because I think sometimes as for me as an animal lover, I'm
Mhm.
always like, "Oh my gosh, how long
Mhm.
has that animal been there? Were they in pain?" And
Yes.
they always reassure me, "Just send energy. We have already taken care of it," but they love the extra energy that you're pulling out. So
Mhm.
just want to throw that out there that, you know, animals, even if they're our pets or not, have a soul as well.
Yes.
Last week I was recording an episode with an animal communicator from
Mhm.
Australia, and went really in depth of how animals have a soul.
Mhm.
And it's not just us humans. It's not
Right.
I mean, if you really think about it, even objects
Mhm.
have souls because they are energy. Everything is energy. Everything is God, universe, source is energy.
Right. Yeah. Everything is
And
consciousness is like the way that I always
yes,
say it. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I love.
So
Well, I'm glad that you.
anytime you see, just pass on the energy, even if it's just for a split second, because you're on the road, you can't like close your eyes and send the energy. But even if you just say,
Uh-huh.
like sending oneness, love, energy. I
Yeah.
know Archangel Ariel and Azrael, you have this animal, but for me, I need to send it.
Yeah, yeah. No, and that's a good point because I am on the country roads, coming home from the retreat house. So, and I always am. I'm like, oh, that poor whatever it is,
Yeah,
could raccoon, armadillo, whatever it is that has crossed over. So, yeah, acknowledging that, yeah, acknowledging their lives is important. So, I love that. I love that. Thank you, Ariel. That was
yeah.
beautiful. Yeah, yeah.
So we have a little bit more time left. I'd love to see if any other angel would like to come through with any final messages before we wrap up.
Well, Metatron wants everyone to remember that they are the light.
Ooh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, and that you are the light that can, oh, you are the light that can brighten someone else's day. So remember to be that beacon for others.
It's
Uh,
beautiful.
yeah, yeah.
And it's the simple things.
Uh-huh.
He's showing me a smile. A smile is the
Mhm.
simplest thing you can do.
Yep, yeah.
Smile, a wave, opening the door for someone.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Hello.
even hello, how are you? I think is a
Mm-hmm.
big one.
Yeah, because I think people don't feel seen. Um, and so, yeah, having that acknowledgement and being that light, they could be having a horrible day, and you doing that small little thing for them, giving them a shopping cart,
Yeah,
anything like that. Just really being the light for people can brighten their day and as well as yours. Because some days I'm having a stinky kind of day, and
yeah,
being of service in a small way like that can really, really help brighten not only their day, but also mine. So, yeah, I love that.
absolutely. Thank you, Archangel Metatron, for that message. I think that's a
Yeah.
perfect way to end. So, Heather, I'd love for you to tell people where they can find you. So, any social media, websites, and any offerings that you do.
Yeah, so I am on Instagram and Facebook as Integra Holistic Wellness. It's Integra Holistic Wellness. My website is integraholisticwellness.com. And I'm on LinkedIn as Heather Jade Fisher Page, I think. I can't remember. I'm not real super busy
Yeah.
on in LinkedIn, but everybody uses their LinkedIn, so I always add that in. But I'm posting on Instagram and Facebook probably 4 or 5 times a week with messages and questions that will come through from Spirit or the angels
Mm,
or this collective. And so yeah, so I'm on there offering those messages of hope and healing and transformation. I offer a 30-minute clarity session. So I really love connecting with people, and it really gives us this time to decide if we resonate together.
right.
And I want to make sure you resonate with me and I resonate with you. So we're going to work together because a partnership, this is a co-created partnership when you start walking your spiritual path at this higher level. And so I always love to do that. And if it's not me, then I like to, I'll recommend other practitioners or that. But yeah, I love taking that 30 minutes of complimentary time to really connect with you because I just love talking to people too, and being able to be that light sometimes that somebody needs in the dark.
That's
So,
amazing. And just
yeah,
to
yeah.
say that it's 11:11 right now.
Oh, I love it. Woohoo! I saw you smiling, so I knew something was going on.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
They were
Oh,
like, look at the
angels.
time. And I was like, 11:11.
Uh-huh. Yes. Thank you, angels. We need
Thank
that.
you.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. So yeah, that's the best way to get a hold of me. So.
And I love that you're doing the free 30-minute clarity call because, you know, when people jump into sessions, they either feel called or resonated. And I think it's important just to be like, all right, I really do resonate with this person.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
And they see similar things that I do. Like, you know what I mean?
Yes. 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 And they aren't so hesitant to uh go into the sessions because we may be doing some deeper work, and being comfortable with me and my energy and the way it works and me being able to explain the process, I think is really helpful as well. So, yeah. So, I thank you. This has been so fun. I
Oh my
really
gosh, Heather, this has
appreciate
been
here.
so fun.
Yeah, yeah, I can talk about angels all the time. And we can
I was
talk
gonna
about
say, I feel like we could do like a whole nother hour, but I got
yeah,
another one coming up. So,
yeah, yeah. And I have a client coming, so
well,
yeah.
perfect, perfect. I love this conversation. Um, I am planning on doing more Archangel sessions for August.
Hmm.
But if you have any questions, listeners, about Archangels, please feel free to leave a comment, or I can always reach out to Heather. We can always do another
Yes.
one if you guys are more interested in learning about more angels. As always, friends, have a blessed, blessed day, and we'll see you next Monday.